There comes a moment in every believer's life, a moment you never see coming, when the world you thought was solid suddenly cracks beneath your feet, and you whisper one quiet question, "God, what are you doing?" Sometimes it happens in a single phone call. Sometimes it happens slowly, like a rope slipping through your hands. Either way, life stops making sense, and trusting God becomes something you thought you knew how to do. Until now. But listen closely. This is the moment right here when trust becomes real. Not the trust you speak about in church. Not the trust you post on social media, but the trust born in the dark, when God seems silent and nothing lines up with what you prayed for. This is the story of how God guides you, even when the path in front of you looks like chaos, even when your heart is breaking, even when your prayers feel like they're hitting a ceiling, even when life makes absolutely no sense at all. Let me take you back to a story that could be yours, a story that belongs to every person who has ever wondered if God still sees them. There was a man who loved God deeply. He prayed every morning. He served others. He tried to live with integrity, and yet life seemed to punish him for it. First, he lost his job without warning. Then, his closest friend betrayed him. Then, one cold morning, he found himself sitting alone in his car, staring at the steering wheel, whispering through tears, "God, why is this happening? I'm trying so hard. What am I doing wrong?" Maybe that sounds like something you've said. Maybe not out loud, but quietly, secretly, in the hidden place where your fears live. For a long time, he heard nothing. No sign, no answer. Just silence. A silence so heavy, he started to believe it meant abandonment. But what he couldn't see was this. God wasn't ignoring him. God wasn't punishing him. God wasn't absent. Heaven was working in ways too deep for him to understand. And it is the same for you, right now. In this season where everything feels confusing, God is not asking you to understand him. He is asking you to trust him. Trust is not formed in clarity. Trust is formed when you have more questions than answers, more tears than explanations, and more pain than logic. There is something holy about the moments when life makes no sense. Those are the moments when God begins to rebuild you, not the surface version of you, but the real you, the version of you he created before the world even knew your name. Let me tell you something important. Trust is not pretending everything's fine. Trust is not forcing yourself to smile. Trust is not denying the hurt. Real trust is this: sitting in the mess, sitting in the confusion, and saying, "God, I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't understand it. But I believe you, even here." Now, imagine a scene. You're walking through a thick fog. You can barely see your own hands. You take one step, then another, but you have no idea where the path leads. That is exactly what trusting God feels like. But here's the truth the fog tries to hide. God sees the whole road. He sees the cliff you might have walked off if he gave you what you asked for. He sees the storm that would have consumed you if he didn't close that door. He sees the danger hidden in what you thought was a blessing. Sometimes the no you resent was actually a rescue. Sometimes the delay you're angry about was actually protection. Sometimes the heartbreak you thought would kill you was actually the birthplace of your calling. Let's go back to that man. Months after losing everything, he received a job offer, one he never applied for. A job that used skills he didn't even know would matter. A job that moved him into a new community, where he met the woman who eventually became his wife. Had he gotten the job he prayed for? Had he stayed where he was comfortable? Had life made perfect sense in that moment? He would have missed the blessing entirely. That is what trust looks like. Not knowing, but following. Not seeing, but believing. Not understanding, but surrendering. You may not see it yet. You may not feel it yet. But God is weaving something into your story that will only be clear in hindsight. One day, you will look back and say, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. When life makes no sense, God is doing his deepest work. He is strengthening your faith. He is reshaping your character. He is removing what can't go with you into your future. He is preparing something better, something safer, something more aligned with who he's called you to be. You're not being ignored. You're being guided. You're not being forgotten. You're being prepared. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. And even in silence, he is speaking. Even in confusion, he is directing. Even in heartbreak, he is healing. Even in the unknown, he is holding you. So breathe. Slow down for a moment. Place your hand over your heart and remember, if God brought you this far, he's not leaving you now. You don't need to understand the season to survive it. You don't need all the answers to move forward. You don't need the full picture to keep walking. All you need is trust. A trust that whispers, Lord, I don't know what you're doing, but I know who you are. Your story is not over. Your breakthrough is not lost. Your prayers are not wasted. Your faith is not in vain. One day, everything that makes no sense today will become the evidence that God was with you the entire time. Trust him, even here, even now, even in this. God is writing a chapter you'll one day thank him for. If this spoke to your heart, don't scroll. Just breathe and type, I trust you, God, in the comments as your prayer tonight.